That was an interesting round of AFC football this weekend.
I did not think there was going to be a bunch of blowouts. And it was a bunch of blowouts. I mean, Bills, Broncos first half, even Texans, Chargers first half. Ravens dismantled the Steelers, which we all figured they would. But yeah, a bunch of blowouts. So I'm hoping for the same thing against the Texans. I'm not sure that we will blow them out as much, but I think we will handily. Here is, I will, share this. This is the last game statistics. So when I went back and I was looking at it and I was like, how close was that game? It was a
Right.
lot closer than we thought. I mean, if you look at that, total yards about the same, passing yards about the same. We rushed for a little more. Yards per play about the same. First downs, third down efficiency. I mean, besides time of possession and the two interceptions thrown, that was a much closer game than the score dictated, 20-19.
On paper, yeah, it looked closer than the game actually was in real time. My opinion, when they lost Bell, and I hate that kid or Diggs don't get to play in these games because that's the real Houston Texans. So shout out to the Texan fans. We don't have Rashid, but they don't have two wide receivers that would make a heck of a difference back there. But when CJ lost Bell, I think it did something to him mentally. I mean, it tore the kid up. I haven't seen a professional football player, and not making light of it at all. I'm proud of the kid for showing his emotions and showing that he actually does love his teammates. But I just think it took something out of him in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. He was balling on those sidelines, and from what I gather, past being teammates and wide receiver one, they're good friends. Didn't they go to college together, right?
I believe so. I'm not positive about that. I just know that he called him his best friend. So
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, the first half of that Texans Chargers game, I thought we were going to see the same thing, and I was like, he's just not right since that. But boy, they turned it on. I don't know. I don't think they have the team to beat us. I think well, let's ask the question. Was this our best possible matchup for the divisional round?
the reason that I say yes is because I went out on a limb and said, hey, the Broncos are going to beat the Bills. And they basically played good football for a half. Then you got Josh Allen coming back. And Josh Allen's a monster. And we'll see how the Bills and the Ravens turns out. But anytime that you play a divisional rival, you have those more familiarity with the plays, with the coaches,
Right.
with the players. And I think it's tougher. I think it would have been tougher for us to have to go play the Chargers than the Texans, and not taking anything away from the Texans. I just feel like matchup to matchup, you think that, I'll tell you what I think the score is going to be, but I think we had the best outcome, yes.
And I want to make this perfectly clear to our griping fan. Well, maybe some of them are fans, non-fans, I should say. Guy popped on there today and was mouthing off to me. We are not afraid of any team in this league. You want to give us the Bills, the Ravens in the divisional round, we'll take it. But if we're saying which would we rather have in the divisional round, of course we would rather have a less of a better team going into it. I would have taken the Steelers, to be quite honest, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen. So between the Texans and the Chargers, I agree. Texans all the way, because the Chargers play us well every single time. Again, I am not afraid of the Chargers or any other team in the NFL. And as you see this shirt I have on specifically for this, know your role, shut your mouth, you jabronis. So all of you just shut your mouth and not afraid of any of you. We will play any of you, as Travis says, we'll go out into the back parking lot and play you on a course if that's what you want. But I would have rather had the Texans, with that said. And I think we match up well against them. I think they become very one-dimensional if they can't get Joe Mixon going. and we're going to shut down that run. Chris Jones is back. He is going to be strong, healthy, and you ain't running it up the center. You're not tossing it to the outside because Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie are going to say no to that. I mean, what are you going to do at that point? They're going to get their plays across the middle of the field because I don't know why we give that up. And that's probably something that Spags is like, you know what? We'll give up those big plays to not give up the shots down the field. So we're going to give up the middle because once it becomes in that 30-yard line, we just say no.
Nick Bolton is not a fast linebacker. He's a very intelligent linebacker. And for a lot of guys, those tight ends coming out of there, he can pretty much stay with them. But after a period of time, you're going to outrun Nick. But if you try coming around his end or you try going through him or something like that, I don't think it's going to happen. Tranquil does a great job on the other side. And you got Jones, you got Minihue on the side, you got George on one side. Our defense is looking good at the right time. We got Jalen Watson back. So, yeah, we're ready to go into this thing full steam ahead with our defense.
And Connor back.
Yes.
Back from the concussion. He was full practice. I mean, he sat out, but, he was full practice. So we'll take it.
Yep.
We're ready. We're ready for this divisional round. Don't want to look past them, but I think we're going to handle the Texans. I don't think they have. We are clicking on all cylinders on offense, and of course our defense is our defense. But let's get into that. Who will have the bigger game next week against the Texans? Will it be the offense or will it be the defense? Who do you think steps up bigger and has the better game?
I was doing some thinking about this, and I looked back at the last game, and I personally feel like our offense has just been that far away from really jumping out. I think for the first time we're going to have everybody ready to go. We've had a couple weeks to kind of fine-tune this thing. Hollywood was back in the first Houston game, but he wasn't really back, if that makes sense. He came on that field for the first time in, 10 games? You've got a lot to contend with, and you've always got Patrick Mahomes. You look at his playoff record, and nobody can touch him when it comes to the playoffs. Travis is going to be elite. I think the offense is going to step up and score 30, 35 points in this game. The defense is going to do their job. I'm going to give Houston a couple scores, maybe 3. But I think the offense shines this game.
Yep, me too. Offense is going to be – they are going to have the bigger game. Defense is going to do their thing, and, I think they'll give up, a couple touchdowns and a field goal, like you said. But offense is going to turn it on, I think, this game. I think they are going to – I think they're going to try and play aggressive. I think they're going to play us a lot of man coverage. And if they don't play us man coverage and they want to play those 2 deep safeties, you got Pacheco and Hunt 1-2 shot. And Mahomes is going to check out and he's going to audible that and he's going to switch to the run or he's going to do those short little passes to the outside. And we're going to tear you up 6-7 yards at a time. And if you play us man to man, you got to deal with Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and now Justin Watson. What are you going to do when he's out there? He caught our last big ball and touchdown. So go try and play him man-to-man with Hollywood Brown on one side, Xavier Worthy doubled up on that other, Travis Kelce over the center. Oh, don't forget about D-Hop. I mean, my gosh. If we didn't have a better team, we have a offensively better team this year going into these playoffs, and I am way more confident going into these playoffs than I was last year. And look what we did last year. So I'm excited. I think we're ready. So let's end this off. Score prediction. What do you think?
31-13.
Yeah, that's funny. You say 31. So I was going to give it 31 too, but I'm going to give them. I'm going to give them closer to the 3 touchdowns. I'm going to give them 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So I was going to say 31-17.
I like it either way. I mean, I feel like the Texans are going to score a couple times, maybe 3. I don't think all 3 of them will be touchdowns. I just think we can shut them down. One of the keys to our offense humming is who we got on that offensive line and what kind of job they can do, because the Houston Texans have a good pass rush. And Patrick's got to have a little time to see those open receivers.
Well, since you mentioned it, we should talk about what do you think on that left side? Who would you rather have, Tooney, or do you want to start it off with DJ Humphries out there?
I think what they're going to do is they're going to put Humphreys out there and give him a shot. I don't think that he will be given a very long leash. That's just my opinion. May not happen, but Joe Tooney has proved himself out there at that left tackle position. So they're not going to allow anything foolish to happen. You know, Patrick is in better physical shape than he was whenever they played the Texans the first time. I think he just came off of that ankle injury, I think the game before. He's more mobile, but they won't allow him to get hit, especially on his blind side.
Yeah, I think you're right too, and that'll make a huge difference because where do we run the ball best? Right up the gut, and right off tackles, right where Tooney and golly, Creed Humphrey. I mean, those big three right up there. That's where we got to run the ball. So yeah, I agree. I think they're going to put Humphreys out there, see what he does, and quickly move Tooney out there if he causes a problem. But time for Humphreys to step up.
It is one to shout out to Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. I saw I don't know if it was a YouTube clip or what this last week, where those two boys were helping some folks out of snowbanks, and it was right after they got out of church, or those folks got out of church. So good job, Trey and Creed, for being good Samaritans, man.
Yeah, I like it. All right, well, that's all I got. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you later.